Pony, it's Cleo here, and today I'm going to be showing you how I make My Little Pony dresses. This video has been requested an unbelievable number of times over the past 6 months, so here I am, finally making it! Before I begin though, I want to say that these instructions will not be as clear as my usual tutorial videos. This is really because I don't have a specific idea of how to make dresses before I do it. I just have a very general one. So, without any more chit-chat, let's get on with it. So today I am making a dress for Pinkie Pie. So here are all the materials I have for this job. We have some silver press studs here, some pink satin ribbon, a very fine sewing needle. This is an absolute necessity. Threads to match the colours of the materials we're using, also a necessity. A pair of fabric cutting scissors, you can't do it without these. Some lovely white satin, this will make the base of the dress, although it can be in any colour you like, it doesn't have to be satin. This is what we're going to be using today. I have some very pretty pink heart trimming here, some pink sequin trimming, and some lace to go underneath the main body of the dress to give it a bit of volume. So firstly, I'm just going to measure this around Pinkie Pie's body for size. I just wanted to see how much I need. Okay, now I know how long I want it to be along this way, I'm going to cut it. It's important to always give yourself a bit of extra, that way you have enough room to give it a seam to finish it off. And there we go, that's one panel ready. Okay, next up I'm going to iron and measure this satin fabric off camera, as it's going to prove too difficult to do over here, I think. Okay, I'm back now with my ironed and cut fabric. As you can see, it's quite wide, because I'm going to gather it to give it a bit more volume around her waist. I've also cut extra fabric for seam allowance, because if I didn't do that, it would fray to ribbons. So let's sew up these seams. Okay, so what we need to do is, I need to pull that out of there a moment. We need to unwind enough thread to get us from one end to the other. That should be plenty. I like to give myself extra, so we're going to have to cut this now. Find the end, and then find the teeny tiny eye of the needle. This can prove exceptionally difficult with such a tiny needle as this. There we go, got it. Okay. Let's start. I think I want to make it about that deep. I like to make it plenty deep, makes it easier to work with. Now we're just going to go round and round here to anchor it, otherwise it'll just come undone. There we go, that should be enough. Pull away those fraying threads, we don't need those. Now what you want to do here, instead of making massive stitches, we want to make the larger ones on the back here and make very tiny ones on this side. We don't want to be seeing big ugly stitches, we want to make them nice and uniform and very tiny on the shiny side. We're going to go in. That, carefully pull it through, don't let things get tangled, that's not helpful. Right, so we're going to put the needle through the other side, make it super close to the place we went in with the last stitch. This is important to get a nice sleek look. And we're just going to repeat this until we get to the very end. Another point is to not pull too tightly, otherwise you'll gather it accidentally. You want to make sure the stitches are laying flat with the fabric. Okay, now as you can see, I've sewn all the seams here. All of the stitches are really tiny on this side and bigger on this side, which I think makes it look an awful lot better. As I said, them big ugly stitches going all the way on this side. Next, what I have to do is arrange the trimming on it to look how I want it to look. So I could put that there, and I could put that up here. So that could look quite cute. I could have it lower down. Okay, so this is how I've decided to arrange it. This is the bottom of the skirt. I'm going to have to cut it now, but I'm going to leave enough space so I can sew it round here so we don't have any rough edges. Now, because it's very difficult to film myself sewing, I'm going to do this off camera. But the same rules apply as before. We want little stitches on top and the bigger stitches at the back while keeping it flat against the fabric. I've also got to make sure that the pink thread is matching up with this and the white thread is matching up with this, and I can't get that mixed up, otherwise that'll look a bit of a mess. Okay, now I've sewn on the braid. I've sewn it all the way around here, and I sewed this on separately. Here are the stitches, like I said, big on the back, little on the front. Can't stress the importance of that enough. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather up this fabric to match the length of this. To gather this, I'm going to need to get a piece of thread, if I can find the end. Going to have to thread this pesky needle again. Then we're going to have to go around here and once again anchor the thread right on the end here. Which means we just have to go round and round several times to make sure nothing falls out. So then all your hard work will get undone and you don't want that. Better safe than sorry, do it plenty of times. Okay, now what we want to do a simple running stitch along here. Not too large, not too small. How you do the stitches depends on how big you want the gathers. Now bearing in mind this is only for a tiny pony toy, you don't want to make them too large. But making them very small can make them messy as well, so it's a delicate balance. I can only hope that I've got it right on this occasion. Now it doesn't matter if you pull it as you go along, because that's what we're going to do anyway. So if it looks like that, that's fine. Keeping the stitches the same size, that's important. Otherwise it'll be higgledy-piggledy and you don't want that, because that'll look a mess. Although, having said that, I'm not very good at keeping stitches the same size. Almost at the end. Push it right through without stabbing yourself. Also very important, because then you'll bleed on it and it'll be painful and you'll have bloodstains and you just don't want that. Okay, so basically what we need to do in gathering, we need to pull it like that. That's gathered to the absolute maximum, but as I said before, we want to try and measure it to fit this lace here. So let's just pull that undone a bit to match it. That looks about right. I'm not going to have the lace sitting right there because that would make it too chunky around the pony's middle. So we're going to have that a little bit lower right there. And I think pull that a little bit tighter. There we go. Let's have a little measure of that against the fabric. I think we want to go a little bit tighter if we can. Have to measure it against the pony, I think. Just trying for size around Pinkie Pie's waist. I know the skirt looks absolutely enormous, but this is supposed to be really over the top. That's the look I'm going for. I don't usually make them this long, but on this occasion we're going all out. That looks about right to me. For your stitch you want to pull a little bit tighter because no doubt it's come a little bit loose with the measuring. And then we just anchor it on this end. Which of course is just going round and round, over and over. Once again, more stitches the better. Better safe than sorry, as always. I think that's good. Let's just snip off the end. Keep it nice and close to the edge. We don't want any loose threads, so just keep that nice and close there. There we go. Isn't that looking gorgeous so far? Now, originally I had an idea for this lace to give the skirt some more volume, but looking at it now, I don't know if it really needs it. Just look, it sits right anyway. I don't know if this is really just going to interrupt the flow of it because it's quite chunky here and the gathering here has already made it quite bulky. I know I could sew it here, but that'll ruin my lovely silky line. You see, this is what happens when I'm sewing. I change my mind on a lot of things. So like I said, I warned you at the beginning that this would not be like my usual tutorial videos. This is not so much a tutorial, so much showing you how I do it, which is not always organised. So I think we're going to put this to one side and save it maybe for some other pony's dress because I don't think we need it today. Okay, the next job is really very tricky. What I need to do is, see the bottom here? That's not going to stay on without some kind of strap. So what I usually do with these ponies is I use a little bit of a ribbon as a strap round here. But because I don't want to sew her in, I'm going to use a little silver press stud in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew up the ends of this ribbon to stop it fraying to pieces. I will measure it to fit around here, sewing it onto the edge of the skirt here, and then what we're going to do is, when we've cut it to the right length, I'll sew it up, and then I'll sew one half of a press stud on, and sew the other half of the press stud onto the skirt here, so then we can take it on and off as we please. This is going to be much too tricky to do on camera, so I'm going to have to cut to when it's finished. I hope I explained it well enough. Okay, now I have sewn on the press stud. As you can see here, I've doubled over the ribbon, which I did cut a little bit long, but it doesn't matter because it'll be covered up by the dress anyway. Over here, I just sewed it straight onto the dress, being careful not to make too much of a mess at the outside here. I will say that the inverted half of the press stud should be on the side of the dress that goes over the top, if you see what I mean there? Like that. So let's get this on the pony. And as you can see, I've actually fashioned a little necklace of Pinkie Pie here. I think that's going to look really cute with the look. Anyway, let's put the dress on her. Okay, what we need to do is to go around here, wrap this tightly around, and then find a way to clip that on. There we go. Okay, now we just straighten the dress up, making sure the press stud's on the side there. Fluff out that dress a bit. And there we go! Yes, we're done! Obviously you could add more beads and sequins and ribbons if you wanted to, but I think it looks perfect the way it is. Now obviously there are different ways of making dresses. Sometimes I make them shorter, sometimes longer, sometimes they fasten around the front like this, more like a cape, and on all Pegasus ponies that has to be like that. But as Pinkie Pie is an earth pony, I've done it around her waist, which I think I actually prefer, especially since she has a necklace to finish off the look there. Okay, so that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you'd like to see any more videos like this. Thanks for watching!